Hello and welcome back to the Creative Visibility Podcast. This is Bret Shuford, your host. And let me just tell you something. If you're somebody who's really stuck, who maybe is like, I don't know how to be more consistent. I don't know how to show up more on social media. I feel like I do so many things in my life that I should be doing, that I could be doing more of, and I'm just not sure where the priorities lie. I have a solution for you. It is the Imposter to Influencer map. If you have not downloaded it, it is totally free. And this is how I've been able to successfully build several businesses, from my own personal business with the Creative Visibility course, but also with Broadway Husbands. We just literally hit our first 5-figure brand deal with a major car company, and I cannot believe that it happened. Something I've was praying would happen in 2022, and boom, it happened. And to be able to create content, to get paid to create content, to be able to be a visible part of the queer community is so important to me, and so important that I help other people do the same thing. So I want to help you reach the same kind of goals, whether you want to just get more consistent at creating the content you're already making, or just feel better about it, like be more authentic, because God knows we see a lot of people doing it poorly. This map can guide you from imposter all the way to influencer. It's what I use and teach, and it's totally yours for free. So go to Creative Visibility Map, or you can check out impostertoinfluencermap.com. Now, today's guest is somebody who I've kind of become infatuated with. She's a TikTok star. She is an amazing improviser. We did a collaboration on Instagram Reels not too long ago. It was super fun. Her name is Cassady. She is part of the Atlanta acting community, but she has been so consistent at showing up on TikTok and using her skills as an improviser to grow her following that she now makes full-time income doing that and teaches on the side. She's a great example of somebody who really focuses on her strengths. She just does the thing that she does well, and she does it consistently, and she's been able to build something out of it. So whether you're a trained improviser or not, and we do talk about the fact that improv is great for anybody at any time. If you've never done it, it can free you up in such beautiful ways. I put a link in the show notes down below for you to check out her improv classes at Dad's Garage. They do some online courses as well. But you're going to really enjoy and hopefully get some freedom and some creative freedom and inspiration from today's episode. So take a listen. This is Cassady. Hi, Karen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm so glad that you invited me. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited too, because we get to make a fun reels that I really was so excited when you said yes, like to do that collaboration, to play the cool mom's cool dad.
Yes.
And I feel like the reaction was really good. I think people really enjoyed it.
I think so too. I had so much fun doing it because I knew you obviously are hilarious and your comedic timing is so good, but I never in my wildest dreams imagined you doing all those fun little, like the pasta, and like it was just so perfect.
Yeah, but you did all that. I just like played off of it. You're so talented. I think it's so fun to watch you really latch on to the medium of short form video as what, to me, I mean, I see you as a trained actor. I see you as this skilled performer, and you've found this way of playing this medium that feels just like I'm watching you live. Like, I just think it's really cool how you've been able to use the medium. So congratulations.
That is such a nice compliment. Like, seriously, that's probably one of the top ones I've received, especially coming from you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
So a lot of people, if you don't follow Karen, which you should, because you're a relentless with the amount of content you create, which is, I think, probably, and we'll get to that, which I think is probably one of the most inspiring things as a content creator to watch you. It's like, how do you constantly come up? And I'm sure you probably get questions like, how do you seem like an endless source of inspiration. But for people who don't follow you, tell people, like, how did you get started? And I want to also then kind of shift into like your ability to accept this short form content medium. But let's just talk about how you got started.
Okay, yeah. Good question. I well, I was asked to join TikTok. I was asked, but a friend recommended it to me. They're like, "Oh, I think you do so well on it." This was pre-pandemic, and I was like, "No, no, no. I do not need another social media to like, keep me occupied." But the pandemic hit, and as actors, I lost every single job that I had booked for the rest of the year. So my thing was just to keep entertaining people because that's what I do, and that's what lifts my spirits. So I decided to join it. I did a really dumb lip sync to the Golden Girls remix, and then ever since that, I was hooked, and I just kept creating content from there. I mean, any type of video you can think of, because I know a lot of people now I have that niche, but before I was doing anything that came off the top of my mind. And that's how it started. And then every single day since that day, I just keep trying to post.
Well, but previous to that, you're saying like you were working as an actor, you're Atlanta based, correct? Had you always been Atlanta based?
Metro. I'm actually Metro now because we just moved last year. But yeah, besides college, I've always been in Metro or Atlanta area.
And as an actor in Atlanta, what was your major source of income? Like, what were you doing?
Well, I am an improviser and improv teacher at Dad's Garage Theater in Atlanta. That's my main place of work. But before that, or not before that, before the pandemic, I was also an actor at Agatha's Mystery Dinner Theater in Atlanta, and it was the longest running dinner theater in Atlanta. And that was also a huge source of my income. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit it hard, and it didn't survive. But I know, but the actors have moved on, and they're doing some other dinner theaters, so that's great. But now it was just that freelance gigs, directing here and there, coaching here and there, and whatever I could get my hands on.
And were you, you have an agent in Atlanta, so you...
I did. I don't anymore. I did years ago, but the nice thing about Dad's Garage is it's such like a hub for so many different people in Atlanta as far as directors, creative directors, writers. And so the majority of the commercials, voiceover gigs, anything I got came from my connections at Dad's Garage.
Oh, wow. So to me, I think that is such a great point for anyone who's in a smaller market, not like New York or LA. I mean, New York or LA, it's all about community as well. But I feel like in a smaller market like that, like finding that community is so important, don't you think?
Yes. I couldn't thank them more. I mean, they helped me so much where I'm at now.
I just think it's so interesting to me to think about. So for me, right, I grew up in Southeast Texas wanting to be on Broadway. So I was like, there's just no way I could stay in Texas. I got to get the hell out of here and go to New York in order to be successful. But for you, you grew up in this area and you've been able to stay and be a working actor.
Yeah, it's crazy because it wasn't like this when I started at Dad's. I mean, obviously there was definitely theater. There's, the Alliance and Aurora and all these big professional theaters. But, it was just like a normal state, normal city. It didn't have much until, of course, that tax break came. Now every street I turn on, there's one of those huge movie signs. And so it is kind of crazy because I had thoughts of possibly going out to like New York or Chicago for comedy. And I was talking to a good friend about it. And she was like, you're leaving a gold mine. She's like, you need to stay here. And not just for comedy, but for anything in the movie, film, TV industry. So ever since then, I've never gone anywhere else. I've just stayed in Atlanta.
I think that's so cool. So when you started creating content on TikTok, what were you making?
Like what type of videos?
Yeah, you were like, I was making anything. Okay, so what were you making?
Oh my
Because
God.
I think this is like so good for people to hear. If you're somebody who's like, I really want to get into TikTok or I really want to get on Instagram, but I don't know my niche. Like, you had no niche at that time, correct? So what were you making?
So I'm a very physical actor. So as far as improv goes, I'm the one that'll be on stage reacting emotionally and very physically. With that being said, this is hard, or this is like crazy to think, but I didn't talk in my TikToks up until almost, I would say maybe even close to a year of posting. So everything I did was to music because I just wanted to portray physicality. So the thing that I caught on the most with, that I had so much fun looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I did this. I did series. I did like rom-com series, making fun of them. Rom-com series, 80s horror, the 90s rom-com. And I would spend 6 to 7 hours a day. I'm not even joking. That was my full-time job because I had nothing else going on. And I would change out in these characters, change out in these costumes, and I would have to do it exactly to the beat of the music because I'm so obsessed with like beats. And that's why it took me 6 hours. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And that's the majority of the things I did. And I did this thing called the Jazz Singer where I would lip sync to Frank Sinatra.
Well, and so, yeah, that was your full-time thing because you weren't working, but were you
Right.
actually making money from it at the time?
So I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's what I want everyone to know. I started this because I just want to entertain. I just want people to laugh. That's my whole thing. And then when I found out I could make money, I was like, I'm sorry. So I didn't start making income off of this until well into maybe a year or so after I started.
And
Yeah.
so what was the transition to that? So you're making these 6 to 7 hour long masterpieces, and you're in that moment, you're thinking, I just love this. I just want to entertain. You're getting to use all of your skills, right? You're directing yourself, you're acting yourself, you're telling your own story, you're writing your own stuff.
Yes.
Which is so cool. And I think so many people are scared to do that. Like, it's like they almost feel guilty, like, oh, I'm not supposed to actually enjoy what I do on a day-to-day basis, right? But you're actually like enjoying this with no pretense of like, I'm doing this to grow following or make money, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So when did that, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't think I was like a brilliant writer, but I had so much fun just, I don't know, creating things for people. Yeah.
And were you finding an audience at the time? Like, were people coming in and following you and going, oh my God, this is hilarious?
Yeah. I built a pretty solid audience that, they would constantly come back to my comments. Like, I always knew who they were, which I loved. And then I would start going live, and it was always the same huge handful of people. And I would just throw on different wigs, and they would, in the chat, put in, this is the character, this is your scenario. And I would just do improv with wigs on live for like 3 hours. And I was like, yes, I'm back to doing like, and of course Dad's Garage still had improv online shows, but this was like my main thing for a long time.
So when did you find this niche? So just so everyone who's listening knows, your niche, I would say, is like you've fallen into this educational parenting and educational, like people who deal with educational school systems on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Yeah, besides the rom-coms and all the series, I just did what I thought was funny or that I could relate to, or I thought other people could relate to. So one night I'm like, oh man, my mom was a teacher for almost 20 years. And I just decided to be a teacher one day on a video. It was like 30 seconds long, and teachers when you're talking in class. I was like, oh, I remember that. I wonder if anyone else would remember this. That's when I woke up and I'm like, I freaked out because the video had 500,000 views in less than 12 hours. And I was everyone's like, were you excited? I was panicking because I didn't know what to do. And like the comments wouldn't stop and the alerts kept coming in. And I was like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? And so I was like, okay, I'll do another one. And I did another one. That one went viral. Did another one. That one went viral. And I was like, so this is how people fall into niches. You give the people what they want. And the reason I liked it so much, Bret, is because everyone of every age, every ethnicity, all around the world related to this character. And that's why I just get chills thinking about it, because it touched people in a way, because it brought back memories, and it was just so cool to see how everyone could relate to it.
I love that you observed, you panicked.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's all just acknowledge that. Like
100%.
it's you panic. It's it is so normal to start to go, holy shit, people are seeing me. And
Yes.
that is a little bit scary. So
Yes.
for you, I mean, I think one of the most important things to know is that you have training and you have experience, and you were doing this before TikTok even existed. So I think a lot of people who want to start creating content or who want to do entertaining content even, they got to understand you got to have some skill set in there, even if it's small, like even if you just like, but I think that's the thing that some people just forget. Like, you've been doing this for a really long time as a performer, so you were able to transition that. But then I also really love what you said, that it felt like you were connecting to people. It was like relating to people. And then that's why you continue to do it. That's why you love it.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And I loved doing it, and I loved how everyone could relate to it. It was really nice.
But you're not a teacher.
I'm not a teacher, and to this day, I have so many followers that still think I'm a teacher, but I'm not. I'm not at all. I observe, and I've been acting for a while, so I'm honored when people think I'm a teacher.
Well, it's very convincing, and I do think that so this kind of leads to what I was saying earlier. So how in the world do you come up with the amount of ideas and content, and does it still take you 6 to 7 hours to make it?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So no. Second one, no. I don't think I could do that anymore. So this is the greatest thing about it. This is how why I think improv is just so important. It's such an amazing skill to have. And I'm not boasting about myself. I'm saying I just think everyone should take some improv
I do
classes.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I say that to no matter who you are. It just
100%.
it frees you up on a day-to-day basis to be able to rely on your impulses in such such a strong way, you know?
Yes. Yep. Think on your feet really quickly. So I would just start getting tons and tons of suggestions, because everyone's like, oh my gosh, do the teacher that when they leave class and the class is alone, or oh my gosh, do the teacher that. And so I just started getting a massive list of suggestions. And in improv, that's what you do. You take a suggestion and then you run with it. And so I took a suggestion. I never wrote anything down. I just would turn the camera on and I would just improvise for like 5 minutes and then cut it, edit it, and post it. And it would, with my improv and edit, it would take probably 30 to 45 minutes for a video. Yeah.
And you're still to this day following that same process.
Yes. I'm trying to branch out a little bit more of different characters, but I know the teacher and education is what everyone will want.
Are you still editing your own videos too?
Oh yeah. And I use different apps now to edit, and and I do my own captions still, which takes some time, but I know it's really helpful.
Yeah, and we had a whole thing with green screen,
which
we made work. So talk about monetization for a little bit. Like, where and when did you start to realize, okay, I can actually pay myself through this process? And then, and what is that process for you now? Are you seeking out brands? Are they coming to you? So what's that process for you?
Yeah. Well, I started getting monetization on TikTok, I guess in 2021. And, this is a whole nother podcast episode, but it started off really big, but because so many people have gotten on TikTok, the money you get now is very minimal.
I've seen that, yeah.
The pool of money stays the same, but still, regardless, very thankful for anything I get. That started, and then ads started reaching out to me. The first one I had was a big candy bar company. Let's just say that. And this is so funny because I didn't know doing ads was a thing, or I thought there's no way I would ever get to that point. They reached out to me and they're like, what's your rate? And I had no idea I had to be in charge of that. And I know you're thinking, well, you've been an actor for this many years. I've always had a problem of putting a worth on myself because I'm
of course.
Right? It's a hard thing to do.
Well, all actors do, right? We all are like, I'm just so grateful to get to work. I just want to do what I love, And this is the curse of so many actors is we undervalue what we're doing, and that's also a whole nother episode. That's also a reflection of how society treats the arts. But anyway, continue.
And that is so right. That's so true. So because of that, I was like, I'm going to charge this massive candy bar company $150. Beat that. And I'm so scared of what they're going to say. And then they responded, they're like, yeah, that's fine.
How many followers did you have at the time?
On TikTok, maybe close to 40 or 50,000.
Okay. $150.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, great.
Yeah, they're like, that's no problem. And so then I felt off about it. I was like, this is a big company. And I reached out to one of my friends that I became friends with on TikTok who also started getting a lot of ads. And they were like, no, you should be charging at least this amount. And I don't know if I want to say it, but it was way more than what I was expecting. I was blown away because I'm like, it's just me. He's like, yeah, but think about it. You're creating this, you're directing it, you're editing it, you're acting in it, you're doing all of the work. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that is a good point. So instead of paying people to do big commercials, they know everyone's on social media now. They're like, this is our commercial. So they could be paying a high rate and I'm charging them $150.
Right.
So that was the moment I went back and I was like, actually, I'm gonna charge this. And it was a little thing because they're like, that's a lot more than you originally said. But basically I was like, yeah, but I learned a lot in the last 24 hours. So
and they were cool with that? They were like, great, no problem?
They met me in the middle.
Great.
They said, well, let's do this. But still, it was way more than I expected. So from that point on, I started getting a few more ads. And then at the beginning of this year, I signed with a social media agency.
Great.
A friend had, and I reached out and I said, how does this work? I would love to get involved. And then he connected us. And they, of course, will fight for you even more. And they're like, this is what she's worth. And I was like, no way any brand is going to accept that. And they're like, okay, no problem. That's when I knew, oh my gosh, they know I'm new. They knew I was green. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk bad about any, but.
No, let's talk about it because I think it's helpful to know for anyone who wants to go into this influencer space, right?
Yeah.
Or into this content creation space, you need to know what's out there. And I think that's something SAG is trying to sort of get on board with. They're trying to unionize the influencer content space because of this exact issue, right? Which is they target people who are making great content and then try to undercut their costs. And it's super important to stand in your values.
Yes. Yeah. And I had a friend tell me the other day, because he's really big he works in film stuff. He's like, there are millions more people now invested in TikTok and YouTube shorts and Instagram than like Netflix and Hulu shows. And that blew my mind. And of course, Netflix and Hulu shows do really well, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people are spending time now just scrolling through videos. So companies are willing to put that amount of money into an influencer for an ad. So yeah, that's the thing, is know your worth. And it's so hard, but
well, also I think what's really great is like if you're struggling with that piece of the puzzle, get an agent, get somebody who will do it for you, because then you don't need to try to figure all that out. Someone else who already understands that part of the business can do it for you. And to me, it's worth paying a commission for some of these rates.
Oh, yes. Because at first I was like, oh man, but then when I saw what they're charging, I was like, take all you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting an agent really, really helped me understand, like, oh, I am worth it. I am doing a lot of work for this company.
Yeah. How do you stay motivated? Like, how do you keep making? Because what's your goal? You release a video a day or more than one video a day? 2 videos a day at this point?
It used to be 1 a day, which I would love to get to that point again. But with my other full-time acting and improv coming back in, which I'm grateful for, gosh, now I'm thankful if I can get 2 to 3 new videos a week.
Wow.
But I ideally would love to put out at least a video Monday through Friday every day.
And when are you batching now? Are you just like, how do you, because that's another piece of the puzzle for people, right? They don't know how to get consistent. When they have those bad days or the days where they just don't feel like being in front of a camera, or they're exhausted, or they have a baby crying in the back. How do you push through and honor that commitment to your audience and to yourself?
Well, and just to be totally candid, I definitely, like, I don't know if you've noticed on my social media lately, I've kind of taken a bit of a hiatus because I was getting burnt out and I was getting to the point where I was getting unmotivated. And I hate saying that, but it's the truth because you're posting every day for what, almost 3 years now. And so I think what I needed to do was I needed to take a mental break because you get so bogged down with, this is a whole nother episode again, but you get so bogged down with the likes, the follows, the shares. You're not getting enough. What's happening? Oh, this one got a lot. I worked so hard on this one. This one almost got nothing. And you start comparing and it just becomes a really vicious cycle. And so I had to take a break mentally. And I think that's what can help motivation. When I took that break, I took a tiny little vacation. I'm going outside, going to stores. I start getting motivated again because I'm seeing stuff happen. I'm seeing characters. So that's when I start jotting things down. And then I just have this spark is getting reignited. So when I have those days of, okay, now I have all these ideas. If I have just a few hours, I'll just throw some wigs in here. And for a few hours, I'll film 3 or 4 videos. And then that can be my batch for that next week.
That's great.
So sometimes it'll be one day I film for the whole week, which is kind of what I would like to do. Yeah. Did that answer your question? That was
No, it does. I think it's super important that people hear, like, because from the outside, it can very easily look like, wow, she's just an endless well of creativity. And some people listening might look at your stuff and go, I could never do that. I could never come up with that much stuff. It's like, well, she's not doing it all. You're not doing it all in one day.
No.
And it's all when the timing is right. But
Right.
I do think that also think there's something really cool too, and I wonder the benefits besides the monetization, right? Are you noticing opportunities coming your way as an actor more? Are you getting offers? Are you noticing people that you never thought would notice you coming to you and saying, hey, like, you're awesome, I'd love to audition you, or I'd love to work with you, or anything like that?
I have noticed since I started getting more successful on my social media that I was getting more people reaching out to me in the Atlanta area asking me to audition, not like a huge amount, but more than before. So I was just getting more people being like, hey, I have an independent film, or someone, hey, I have a product, a deodorant I want you to audition for. And that's what's so nice because besides a social media agent, I represent myself. So it's just nice that this social media thing has kind of helped me get out there more and be seen. And that was not my intention, but as an actor, I'll take it.
How is it? I hear a lot of actors, artists, pretty much anybody who's in some sort of freelance artistic field, right? They say, oh, I got to be better about my social media, which always feels a little vague. It's like, what does that mean, right? Because it's like, what do you mean your social media? There's so many platforms. There's so many opportunities. And I think that could be part of the issue for so many people in our community is that there's almost too much to choose from, and that lack of structure makes it really hard for them to go, that's what I'll do. Right? Maybe I'll do a YouTube, maybe I'll do Instagram Reels, maybe I'll do TikTok.
Right.
What do you say, because you work with actors even in the improv world and at Dad's Garage, which we'll put a link to Dad's Garage down here so that anybody in the Atlanta area wants to check it out.
Right.
And they do online courses too, right?
We are going to start doing that again. Not yet, but we are going to.
Great. So that'll be down below.
Yes.
So how do you, as somebody who's been now on the other side of successfully navigating social media as an actor, how do you help those actors who are maybe feeling pressure that they're supposed to do the same?
Like put yourself out there on social media and stuff. That's funny because we recently had a workshop where I helped run it, trying to inspire improvisers to start their own TikToks. And so for me, it's just anything that you think is funny in your head, because a lot of the videos I posted is weird humor, but that's what I thought was funny. The audience will find you. I think just use it as like a portfolio, use it as a journal. Just people, I think, maybe compare themselves to YouTubers and it has to be perfect quality and it has to be, the lighting and it has to take 2 days to film. Of course you want good quality, but every phone now pretty much has, that's all I use is my phone. I say it's just do it, because the audience will find you. And at the end of the day, you're just doing what you love and you're just having fun doing it. You're not, and then if something comes out of that, even better.
Yeah, I think that's so important to help people. Like who do you follow? I'm very curious, Karen. Like who are the people you love on social media to follow? Yeah, I'll just ask that question. Yeah.
So, because the FYP, the algorithm just knows like the people that you attract to. So it's all improvisers from like either LA or New York. Not that I meant to do that, but that's just what I found out. Caitlin Riley.
Oh, Caitlin is the best.
So good.
I love her. I just love her. Everything she does.
Yeah. Amazing. She's so good. So her and her wasp mom is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so
good. It's so good.
But Drew, oh my gosh, he's the one that does all the waiter stuff in the restaurant.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
He's also an improviser at UCB, and his character, even though he's stuck with just the restaurant, his characters are so diverse and they're so amazing. Michael Burke.
I love Michael Burke, yes.
Yeah, Michael Burke. Aaron Goldie Boy.
Of course.
And then actress Beck. She's really funny. And Over the Moon recently. I don't know if you've seen her stuff, but she's a huge TikTok person that does just millennials and like, remember back in 7th grade? And it's so spot on. So it's just like nostalgic and millennial stuff.
Do you follow Benny Drama?
Oh my, yes. I just watched recently the other day for like the 10th time the hairdresser one. There you go. Yeah.
Hi babe. Oh my god, it's so funny. Did you see his new character, the real estate agent?
Oh my, yes.
What is her name? It's like Prudence. I can't remember. It's so funny.
Like fast.
She does like grapevines as she walks. Like it's so.
It's so he's incredible. It's so good.
I want to be him in another life. I just love him so much.
Awesome.
I love that. I love that you're honoring. So that's really interesting too to say to people like. I do a lot of lip sync. That's most of the short form content I do. The lip sync stuff is really fun and easy for me, and I like to twist it. Like I like to take it and like spin it.
I do love that. Yeah.
But maybe there's something like also kind of lazy about that on my end. Like it's very easy to hide behind somebody else's audio, and you're seeing I think a trend, especially on Instagram. They're saying now original content is going to get a higher priority on Instagram, but meaning original audios. Who knows if that's true or how they can actually measure that? But I think it's super cool to see like these people you're mentioning are people who are doing this improv work. They're coming up with their own characters. They're telling stories, and it's all stuff that we can see it. We know the people, like we know the teacher. We know the wasp mom. We've seen them at the grocery store or at the theme park or at the whatever, right? So.
Yeah. That's what's so great about it. It's all people, or that someone in your life is just relatable.
Yeah, I think it's really important to know like that is really what social media should be about. Is about creating something that people can relate to. When you do that, people feel connected. And does that help you feel connected too?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I love doing content. And that's really, I've done a few sketches with some friends that are so abstract, kind of more Adult Swim-esque. I either want to do something extremely relatable or so out there that you're like, I can't relate at all. That's why I love this. But no, I think because it just builds this like emotional connection, even as we know, laughter is so important. And I just get so many messages, and this is not to, but again, boast about myself, but just how people relate to it on such a level that it's helped them, or it made them remember something, or it's gotten them through a really tough year. And so just being able to create something so relatable that can connect with people on a personal level it's kind of blown my mind. It's become more than just, let me just do some funny videos. I don't know how to say it. It's just become a lot more than that now.
I love that. And I think that you should play the teacher in every single TV movie. Everything. If anyone needs a teacher.
Oh my gosh.
A teacher, a principal, a cool mom. Like, you should be in everything. It's like you just nail it. And
oh my gosh. Well, I feel the same about you, but I know you're not going to. But yeah.
I just feel like we're friends and we've never met in person, and it just makes me so happy. That's the thing I love about the internet.
Yay! Yes, I agree.
So I will put links to Karen. I'll put links down below in the show notes for all your platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Dad's Garage. I'll include a link down there too. So if people want to check out some of your classes there, anything else you want to leave people with before we sign off?
Well, first off, I'm honored that you asked me. I love you, Bret, and I love your content, and I'm inspired by how often you post and how much you interact with your audience. But other than that, if any followers are listening, thank you for everything. I wouldn't be here without you. And I hope to continue to make fun, hilarious, relatable content.
I have no doubt you will.
Aw.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Bret.